Why you do this? Understand yourself. There is a strange contradiction that's hard to explain. You want closeness, you crave connection, and yet the moment affection appears, something inside you tightens. Not fear exactly, more like pressure, like the emotional air in the room suddenly thickens. And the closer someone gets, the louder that pressure becomes. Something in you prepares. What makes it confusing is that the affection looks gentle, normal, loving, nothing about it seems threatening. And yet your body reacts as if something important is about to be taken from you. That reaction has a reason. It can happen with a hug, a caring question, or someone wanting more emotional closeness. Nothing dramatic happens on the outside, but inside your system starts bracing. It feels subtle at first, almost easy to miss, until it isn't. You might feel irritated, restless, or suddenly distant. And almost immediately, guilt follows, because you know the other person isn't doing anything wrong. That guilt often keeps you stuck in the reaction longer, and it deepens the confusion. What's happening isn't really about affection. It's about what closeness activates inside your nervous system. Affection carries meaning, memory, and expectation, even when no one says anything out loud. Your body reads signals before your mind does. Always has. When closeness crosses an invisible threshold, your system doesn't evaluate intention. It evaluates risk, based on past experience. And that evaluation happens in milliseconds, before you can stop it. For some systems, affection is not neutral. It's linked to memories of pressure, obligation, or losing autonomy. Closeness once came with strings attached. Those strings may not exist anymore, but the body remembers them. Memory lives in sensation. So when someone moves toward you emotionally, your system reacts as if something is being demanded, even if nothing is asked. The reaction isn't logical, it's learned. And it's fast. The reaction is fast. Muscles tighten, breath shortens, attention narrows, the body subtly prepares to protect space. This all happens before you form a clear thought, before permission. It doesn't feel like panic. It feels like crowding, like your internal boundaries are being crossed without consent. And once that sensation starts, it's hard to ignore. It wants distance. Your nervous system learned that closeness could escalate. That small gestures often led to more expectation, more responsibility, more emotional weight. So it learned to interrupt early. Early feels safer. Rather than waiting until it becomes unbearable, the system reacts at the first sign of closeness. Distance feels safer than waiting to feel trapped. Control matters here. From the other person's perspective, they're offering warmth, care, or interest. They may feel confused when you tense up or pull away. To them, the moment feels intimate, not threatening. They don't see danger. They're following emotional signals they learned were bonding and safe. Their behavior is not actually about you. They're reaching, not taking. They don't know that your system is scanning for pressure, not love. Inside you, something very different is happening. Affection doesn't feel like connection. It feels like pressure building, like your freedom is shrinking. Your body prepares to defend space. Space equals safety. Here's why you react the way you do. Your system associates closeness with losing control over your emotional autonomy. So distance feels like relief, even when you want connection. That contradiction hurts. This is where the pattern forms. One person moves closer to feel secure. The other pulls back to feel safe. Neither person is wrong, but both feel unseen. Here's how the pattern forms between both of you. The more one approaches, the more the other needs distance, until both feel rejected. And that gap grows quietly over time. Silence replaces closeness. At the root, this pattern often comes from early relationships where love required compliance. Where affection wasn't optional or paced. Closeness meant obligation. Choice wasn't allowed. Your system learned that connection came at the cost of autonomy. So now it treats affection as something to manage, not receive freely. That lesson shaped your reactions long before adulthood. Your system adapted, not because you were weak, but because you were paying attention. Over time, this response hardens into identity. You might see yourself as avoidant, distant, or bad at intimacy. You may even warn people in advance, as protection. But this isn't who you are. It's how your system learned to preserve itself. Identity formed under pressure always hides the original need. That need still exists. Relief begins when you stop labeling the reaction as a flaw. It's information. Your system is signaling its limits. Limits are not rejection, they're guidance. Nothing is wrong with you for needing space. Space is how your system regulates closeness. Without it, affection becomes overwhelming instead of soothing, and you shut down. Integration starts when you separate present affection from past pressure. When you notice that today's closeness isn't the same thread it once was. That distinction takes time and repetition. The nervous system updates through repeated experience, not logic. Safety has to be felt again and again. Trust rebuilds slowly, not instantly, but it does rebuild. Empowerment comes from choice. When you name your limits early, closeness becomes less threatening. You stay present instead of disappearing. Presence changes everything. You don't have to reject affection. You can regulate pace, depth, and intensity. That flexibility changes the entire dynamic, for both of you. At deeper levels, relief feels like permission. Permission to receive closeness without surrendering yourself. That permission relaxes the body and the heart. When autonomy and connection stop feeling like opposites, affection softens, and intimacy starts to feel possible again, without pressure. You're not broken for feeling smothered by normal affection. Your system learned to protect itself in environments where closeness once came at a cost. That protection made sense then. It kept you intact. Now, you get to teach it something new. That connection doesn't have to erase you. And that learning changes how love feels in your body, quietly. You're allowed to want closeness and space. Did that feel familiar? And have you thought about this?